Hey, we're live. Good morning. Welcome to Wombs with a View, Maternal Musings with Jenny and Mika. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Mika.
I'm going at this with no coffee today, Mika. We haven't done this in a long time, but here we are.
It's good to
And
be back.
oh, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see your face. It's been some time. Um, so I think the idea for moving in birth, labor, and beyond, I think the inspiration came the other night to me when I went to a. Have you done, Mika, contact dance improv?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Maybe this is from a past life of yours. Have you done it recently? Yeah, from a long. Yeah, no, I know that was definitely a thing in your youth. I can imagine. You have got to come. Anyway, so I was at this dance event the other night, and as I've said, in different places, in different ways, for me, even though I've been a yoga teacher for many years, where you're moving your body, dance, I think we're on the same page, is like a total other story. And so dance has been this exploration for me. And sometimes with Mika, Julie Kuzmario's Dance Your Intuition, that was a huge moment for me to be able to just like totally let go. And previous to that, I was taking like classical dance lessons. It was Bharatanatyam. It was all instructed. Before that, I had taken Lindy Hop, which even though there's some improvisation, it's all instructed. So discover Julie's evenings that Mika and I have done together. And then just this other night with the contact dance improv, it's just like this like total liberty and like, you're shy and awkward. And it was kind of reminding me of the students that we have that are going to move into this place of labor that they've never experienced. And everything is new. And, like, okay, just like listen to your body and move the way your body wants to move as you would in dance. But that's not what everybody's used to.
Not at all.
So I guess for today, being Mika and I are both yoga teachers, and Mika is in Somatic Experiencing. She's going to actually run off to finish some of her courses after this class. We thought that we would share with you guys today some anecdotes and some tips and tricks for moving in birth, labor, and in parenting.
Yeah.
And it's actually funny. I'll say too, it's funny because as some of you know, Mika and I are also hypnobirthing instructors, and we teach hypnobirthing education classes. And when you look at the videos of women who are in hypnosis, there's not always a lot of movement. But just to say that in our classes and in the hypnobirthing method, it's not just lay there and do nothing. There are many, many opportunities and some instructions that we do give to show you that we can talk a little bit about today.
Awesome. Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics in the world. Like for me, movement and dance, they've been part of me since I can remember myself, like as a child. And I think part of me becoming a yoga teacher and also in my work as a birth doula, this connection with the body and the movement in the body is a big piece. So I'm super happy you brought this up, and I'm so thrilled to hear about your dancing experiences, because that's so liberating to kind of, as you move through the years to reach this point where you feel that you can just feel the freedom that dance can allow. But I also can say that a lot of the families and the women and the people that I support, they're not in their bodies. We're not, maybe we have gym in school, but that's not really, it's very instructed. It's very framed for us. And it's not something that we grow up being kind of invited to pay attention to, because everything in our culture is so up in the head. So when we arrive,
but this is what we've been talking about this in so many ways lately, is that it comes back to connecting to your intuition and listening to your body. And from day one, we're sort of conditioned to throw the intuition out the window. So when we come to this place of labor and intuition, what is that?
How do I even connect with that? What is it, right? Where does that frequency, where is that tapped into? And there's so many ways to tap into it. And I think that's the beauty, really, to know that in my understanding, there's so many doorways to your intuition. And one of the major ones is your body and your sensations and being embodied. That's such a buzzword, right? Embodiment. But really understanding it on a different level than the thought. So it's not about our thoughts. It's more about our sensations and the way that we are feeling. And there's constant information that's coming to us from our bodies that we mostly overlook and override for many different reasons. And I liked the way I like to move it. And I'm just interested if the people that are watching can take a moment and see when they are moving in their life and what allows them to tap into their intuition. And let's explore some things that we do. Like when in your life, Jenny, do you feel that connection? What does that look like?
It's funny because if I'm really honest at this point, there's too much movement. And the only thing I actually crave is stillness. I've been moving from Montreal to the Laurentians for 4 months. Like, it's just like, I was laughing with this new roommate of mine, realizing how similar we are, because like normal people rent a moving truck and on one day they are so well organized. They then put all of their boxes and they do it in one shot. But this roommate and I, Mitch, we've been taking multiple trips and just throwing stuff in the back and it's very aggravating, actually, speaking, from an Ayurvedic perspective, very aggravating to Vata on top of it in the middle of fall, so too much of that kind of movement for me. But when I choose to move, like I said, the getting more into dancing has been great. I can say I am still teaching 2 yoga classes a week. But my personal yoga practice, probably since, COVID and studios shutting and stuff, has never gone back to what it was. And I'm okay with that because I'm finding other ways to move that are not yoga, that are actually, yoga can come from an intuitive place, for sure. And I do appreciate teachers that encourage the students to, to make the pose look more like a shape. It's not important exactly what it looks like. It's more about how it feels and how it's aligned in your body. But that for me is dancing has become just that final, and dancing with a partner, like that contact improv is like next level letting go. It's like friggin' awkward when you're with a stranger, and like for anybody who's not done it before, your bodies are literally rolling on each other. Sometimes you're like flat on the floor, like rolling your body like a rolling pin on this piece of pizza dough, and like where do you give the weight and where do you take the weight, and it's like this back and forth. It's also really awesome to dance independently. And I think for me too, like dancing would be like, okay, go out to a club and dance really shitty music and like you're drinking and everybody's drinking, and like this thing of like dance like no one's watching doesn't really apply in that scenario because everybody's watching. That's it's kind of gross and icky to me anyway. That's probably not the case for everybody. But then to move into a very sober space, which is the case, like that's what this is, and either dance alone or dance with a partner has been just like it really becomes like the next step to like, I was just saying to Mika, I'm at a point in my life where I don't really care what other people think of me or what I say or what I do. And that is just the final expression of like dance like no one's watching. In those scenarios, no one's watching, no one cares, and we need to bring that into labor too. When you're, we say to students, and it's hard to believe if you're a pregnant woman who, is in a normal version of shy, that we all have this gene that we're all, we're not used to being naked in front of a room full of people. It's hard to imagine in pregnancy when I tell you that probably by the end of things, you're not going to be wearing any clothes. And they just look at you like, what? Of course I'm wearing. No, you're not going to be wearing your nightgown. You've ripped it off 15 hours ago and you're not even wearing a bra. And at that point, you don't care. Right?
It is really amazing to witness that every time. but it's,
so that was filters, a tangent you asked me.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I think our filters in labor just become so different, and the shyest people just don't care anymore. They just don't give a shit. It's not about these social, norms of covering up and. But each their own. Like I've had people who have been in control of that until the last moment, and that's fine too. So I'm also kind of listening to you, and I'm thinking that a lot of us I think COVID has put us also in a more kind of passive place, and also a lot of us work on computers, sitting on a chair throughout many hours a day. So sedentary. And it's known now that sitting for a long time has so many different implications on our health. So when we're pregnant, one of the things that we recommend is pay attention to that. There's a few tips maybe we can share, that if you're working in an office job and you're pregnant, please put on a timer and every 90 minutes stand up and do some hip circles, figure eights, belly dancing. There's a reason why this tradition has been there for so many years in the Middle East, because there's so much pelvic health related to moving, to shake it, to really shake things up and allow the blood to flow well and the lymph system to drain and cleanse and allow our bodies to feel better and be healthier. Another thing that we often recommend is, especially in the later weeks of pregnancy, is take that chair out and put in what do? We sit on a ball.
I call it a birth ball or a yoga ball, but there's got to be another name for it, an exercise ball. I had that question the other day in yoga class. Like, does it have to be a birth ball? Is that no, just one of those round balls. Exactly. And that really helps with the lower back pain. And again, you can still get all kinds of movement with the ball under your bum.
Exactly. And then you're not static. You're not sitting there and putting pressure on your tailbone and sacrum for hours at end. You're actually you're creating circulation, which is what we want to allow, it really comes down to how well our muscles are receiving oxygen. And that has an effect on our baby's well-being, on our well-being. So there's so much good that comes out from these simple things that we can change things up, because we're not moving around enough in our day-to-day life at this time. But there's also something in pregnancy that asks us to slow down. That's been a really big theme lately with a lot of the people that I support, that some of them have actually a very high, intense workout regime, which is great. We now know that in pregnancy, we don't need to stop to do those things. But there is a point, and it will be different for each person, where the body just decides it's time to kind of slow down the pace and find movement that supports us in that. Because, it's important to keep on moving. Slowing down doesn't mean that we stop moving. So that's another piece here. And I think it's this place where there's some practices, and maybe we can think of one that we can share now. Haven't prepared this, but just kind of on the fly, where we can, you said dancing without what did you say? Dancing with nobody's business. What was that?
Oh, so there's an expression, or it's a meme now, but I mean, it's been around before internet. Dance like no one's watching. I don't know if it's part of a poem or something like that, but dance like no one's watching. And I transformed that in my mind to dance like, what did I say one time? People are watching, you just don't care. It doesn't matter if people are watching. You just don't care about the judgments. You're just so in your own self. And I mean, whether it's dance or just, how you are in the world, you're so affirmed in who you are and who and how you want to move, that it doesn't matter if anybody's watching. You're so sure.
And how do you get there? Right? That's a question. If you don't feel that way. So here's one idea that I just kind of connected to that. So just behind me is my kitchen, and my kitchen floor is my dance floor. And often, and especially during COVID, what I do in the morning, I put on a song and I just dance. Like, for me, that's very available, and I can just do that anytime, any place. But it's not the same for most. But I think that when you do that in your own space with your own playlist, choose a song, create that playlist, collect songs, and start small. Start, just listening and standing in the room and see where the body wants to take you. And I think this is where it's revolutionary. Instead of thinking what's the next dance move you're going to do, you can't just do that.
No, sorry, he's here.
Hello,
so it depends who you ask. One of my children calls him Teeny Meeny, and the other child calls him Sock Body. Because we had this little guy in our lives when he was about 4 days old, and I guess his body looked like it could fit in a sock. He was the runt of the litter. Okay. He's just a dream. He's I don't have any babies, but I'm technically his grandma, I guess, but he doesn't leave me. He doesn't leave my side.
Aw, you're so lucky. That's such a amazing being. Thank you. So just before he came on, Teeny Meeny and Sock Body, right? I get it right. I was talking about finding ways to own that movement that comes from within. So through dance is definitely one of them, and you want to build it up slowly till you come to a point where you're just allowing your body to move you. So it's from the bottom up instead from top to bottom. So it's not a thought, it's an urge. And I find that that's such a great way to just enjoy yourself in pregnancy. And it's one of the ways to show up in labor with more confidence and more connection to your body, because that's such a big piece of what labor is moving with your body, listening to your baby and your body. And that connection really allows you to come into labor in such a different way. And there's more ease. And that's what we want. We want more ease, more calm, more feeling of connection and safety. So here's one way to kind of explore that.
That made me think of something, especially when it comes to labor, although it feels great beyond. I'm sure, Mika, in your yoga classes, prenatal, you've done this probably every class, just as I do, on all fours, so in a tabletop position. And then, you can do cat-cow. Or you can just let your hips circle, and then I'll watch people sometimes, and I don't really watch. We close our eyes, and I just really encourage everybody to go in there. But if I do see students, it often is just like this really still controlled circular movement. So then so now you make a figure 8, but then it's still quite controlled. And then I had this one exercise. I earned, Uma Dinsmore-Tooley, she did this with us in a workshop. You imagine that you have imagine like a paintbrush stuck to your tailbone. And then now, if you know the name of baby, you paint the name of baby with the tailbone, with your paintbrush. You paint the name of the baby back behind you. And there your pelvis is moving in a way that is not really controlled, and that is more, and that can help you get into. And then you just imagine, if you're in pregnancy watching this, you're in that zone, and you just imagine you're in your birth bubble, and imagine everything's quiet. Imagine you're there giving birth. You're there either, on all fours on the hospital bed, or you're still laboring at home. And just imagine and visualize that you're in that zone and how good it can feel, and then pull that back out when you're in labor. That is an amazing trick. Anything where you're moving hips. Mika was talking about standing up and making circles, or being on the birth ball, or being on all fours. It's a good way to.
Yeah, we can even move our hips when we're lying down. Like, hips can move. Our pelvis is mobile.
I'm just picturing Shakira right now. I can just imagine Shakira dancing. She can move her hips.
She can move her hips, yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit, or a lot? So you, to my understanding, just knowing you for so many years, and Somatic Experiencing, like you have in, Mika's like my life doula often. If I'm going through some hard stuff, she's the person. I'm gonna cry if I talk too much of it, so I'm just gonna so she's usually the person that helps me with the hard stuff. And now that I understand, and she'll explain what somatic experiencing is, I realize that that's what she was walking me through many times in my life. Correct?
Probably. It's one of the ways I move through life, for sure. So yeah. Long story short, my mom did this training in 1998. It's mind-blowing for me to think about that. And she actually did, so it's a 3-year course that you take on, and she did the 3rd year with Peter Levine, the advanced year of somatic experiencing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Switzerland. When he was still in Switzerland. So it's been part of my fabric of life for over 20 years. Because my mom is a psychotherapist, and she used to share a lot of these tools with me, and it's been life-changing for me. And in the past few years, I've been gravitating more and more to kind of putting those tools into a place where I can offer them to the families I support, and to people who are looking for, especially birth trauma processing, because that's really a place that I find is lacking a lot in our society, we're not giving enough attention to moms and to their experiences and how they heal after giving birth. And I want to say that SE is not, you don't have to have a big T trauma to actually benefit from SE. It's something that can inform us in our daily life, because in SE we tap into our nervous system, and we basically allow our nervous system to come back to their innate rhythm. And when we say, it's such a buzzword right now, nervous system regulation, because SE is now being integrated to so many other modalities and methods out there, because I find that it can really work well with almost any kind of relationship or connection setting. So from therapy to yoga to all these different places that SE can inform us and enrich us to find, again, coming back to well-being and ease. That's what we're looking for. So really, it's all about the language of the nervous system, which is sensations. And sensations are constantly moving and changing in our bodies. And we're often, as I said before, we overlook, we override. We have a lot of different things that we've experienced in our lives that have dampened our ability to be in connection and to allow our nervous system. It's a self-regulation system in our body, but it's been blocked and prohibited in so many different ways since we were even in utero. So with SE, we're here to allow things to, I'll bring out one of my toys. Am I allowed? I work a lot with toys, and this is the Huberman sphere that Pierre Levine talks about. And I find it just really helps understand this movement that is constantly present of contraction and expansion, contraction and expansion. And when we experience even little T traumas, so little things in our life, like we're overwhelmed from work, or we're feeling that we're too overtired and everything is just too much, then we often lock and we are very contracted. And through an SE session, we can start with a practitioner that has the training and also the experience. We can slowly come back to movement. So another thing in SE, speaking of slowing down, is something called titration that is really it's borrowed from chemistry. As a chemistry biology teacher, I find it's really cool to know. Titration is basically when we're bringing in one substance into another, creating a reaction. And we're doing it really slowly so the reaction doesn't explode or doesn't kind of take over in a way that is too much for the system. So we're titrating very, very slowly into expansion and then coming back into that place where we're feeling contracted and then open up a little more, and until we slowly can, the nervous system can find itself and be able to kind of regulate on its own from contraction to expansion. And that is a movement that is always there. And I think in yoga, we tap into it a lot. And in SE, it's just looking at it from a different lens and understanding how we can regulate it even more. So that's.
Is there? I love that sphere, and it's reminding me. I did my yoga therapy training with Karina Reisman. Anyway, it's just really. I don't know where she gets everything that she ever taught, but absolutely, this is really reminding me of that. Is there, like, we're just sitting here, and maybe the people watching are sitting, or maybe they're in a different position. Is there something that you can walk us through just in terms of, I don't know, bring it, Mika. I'm stressed. I'm moving. I've got like, I was talking about like juggling plates. Like I'm juggling about 15,000 plates right now. I'm happy.
So
things are good, but I have too much stuff. I'm feeling pretty stressed. Is there something that you can walk us through in a couple of minutes? Is that possible as we sit?
Yeah, I'm not ready for it, right? You're just
sorry. I'm just throwing that on you.
Yeah,
you're a pro. This is in your blood. Your mom studied this in 1998. We're good.
No, completely. I'll say that what really informs this is me being able to tap into your nervous system. So if people are watching, it's going to be just, let's be curious together and explore what shows up for you. But It's actually the feedback with the practitioner that creates the somatic experiencing experience. Like, funny to say experience. I was thinking magic. There is something magical about it, but it's not.
But it is the feedback. It's not like you can watch, you can follow a YouTube yoga class. You can't really, and it's just general, right? But from what you're saying now, it's really a one-on-one experience. Okay, well, do you want to walk me through something and people can witness the magic? Or we can also do that off camera. But
I'll give you a little taste of it.
Because I have memories of being with you on the phone, and like I'm literally like about to go to the hospital with a panic attack, you know? And Mika's like, where do you feel it in your body? Sorry, well,
I never heard you.
And when that's how I impersonate you. I impersonate you all the time. I'm like, that's Mika's yoga voice.
That's so great. Yeah, it's so funny. I own it now. It's one of my superpowers, my voice.
Definitely.
So, yeah, you're closing your eyes all the time, but can you orient around in your room and really take a moment, wherever you are now, in this specific room you're in, just look around and give yourself, permission to kind of...
Oh my God, there's so much shit everywhere. I'm moving.
I know you
want
are.
to look around this time.
But what's that picture behind you?
Oh, you want to see that?
Yeah.
This is really special to me. Do you see? How do I do
that? I can see.
You know that one?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
So the reason I bought that image, aside from it's beautiful, is that was the painting that was up in my midwife's office when I was pregnant with Arlo, and then I was having a home birth, and I loved my midwife's office so much. Can you imagine saying that about your doctor's office? Sorry, I love the midwife, and she's just like this wonderful. It was just an incredible experience every time I went to be followed by this midwife. And that's a whole other show, right? But it was just a really, again, in contrast to like a shitty following by an OB-GYN at St. Mary's. That was just a bad experience. Sorry.
But come back to that picture, Jenny. Let's come back to that picture.
But no, it's stressing me out. But the contrast, anyway, I just really loved this midwife, and I loved her office, and I was having a home birth. So I bought that painting to have, and the irony is, of course, when you're in labor. So it was in my living room where I gave birth, but then there was like no lights on. Like I couldn't even see the painting, but I knew that it was there. Anyway, that was 8 years ago. So that I don't know why you asked me that, but that's.
So let's go back to that moment when I asked you, and what was your reaction? Do you remember right now?
I think I was excited.
Yeah. And you just did this, like this sigh of relief. And can you notice in your body right now, if you can go back to that moment where I was inviting you to pay attention to the picture, and what sensation showed up for you? What's there? Yeah.
I don't know if I have a word for it.
If you'll give that movement a word, what would that be?
Joy. It was a joyous, yeah.
And is that present for you right now?
At this moment, yeah. But I mean, in general, when you and I speak, I'm not usually in too bad of a mood. But yeah, that joy is present, sure.
Yeah, so let's feel that joy, that sensation of joy, which is somewhere around your chest area right now. Is that where it is? Yeah. So just be with that. Yeah. And notice it, and see if it has any kind of movement. Speaking of movement. And if you wish, you can describe to us, because there's not just me here. There's more people watching.
Dude, it's like a massage. I feel like I'm getting like a traps massage. It went like, and now that's, wow. Can you imagine that little spark of joy is actually releasing tension in my traps and shoulders? That's awesome.
Just simply notice. And because we're not doing a full session right now, I'm going to bring you back to just feeling your feet on the floor and the connection with your seat. As you, for a moment ago, open your eyes. Whenever you're ready, you can come back, open your eyes.
I don't want to come back. Can you cancel your session and just come over here? Thank you. Oh, that was phenomenal. That's like 2 seconds, right? Can you imagine doing that for like a... So it's like a recalling. It was like a recalling of a nice moment. But it is just like, I'll share maybe another time my experience with COVID and the mental, and how recalling and when you're in a negative mental state, and this applies directly to labor. And the friend that kind of helped me with this pain, I kind of brought that up. Like, don't you help people deal with pain all the time? Like, you don't remember Vipassana? And I was like, oh yeah, Vipassana meditation. And
Exactly.
and I went from this terrible negative spiral of like, oh my God, I have COVID. I'm going to die. I got to go to the hospital. They're going to tell me I deserved it because I don't have the vaccine. I was like in this like terrible spiral of negativity. And then I shifted courses with the help of that friend who just gave me, just like you did now, Mika, just a couple of little. It was incredible how that changed the entire experience for me, and how so much of any kind of illness or pain.
Yeah.
So powerful.
And then
it's so mental.
Exactly. But it's also coming out of our thoughts and coming into our sensations.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just add from the SE lingo kind of language that what we did right now was resourcing. We found something that you can connect to that is resourceful for you. And once we have established resource, we can start to actually go into all the other things that are more constricted and not so the trauma vortex. So in SE, we move between the healing vortex and the trauma vortex, but we do it with a lot of titration, with a lot of slowing down, so the nervous system doesn't get overwhelmed. That's the work. That's
la. Okay, I kind of knew from the, like I said, the years where you've kind of helped me, and I had a sense that that's what it was. And Alana Gorstern was on the show a couple of months ago, and I think she's going into studying somatic experiencing now too. And like, I just like, yeah, no, it's perfect. Kind of see it around more and more curious. So thank you very much for that, and definitely let me be your guinea pig soon. That would be great. It's nice to see that it actually works virtually as well. That it's not, although apparently like Reiki works virtually too. So I guess you can do anything virtually. But I would be.
Works. It's surprising, but it really works virtually. And I'm a student, but I'm also seeing clients at this point.
Yes,
already.
Perfect.
So
good.
If anyone is interested, I'm available. This is the work.
But I would think too, like just like for the clients and students we have who have apprehension and who are afraid of going into labor, which is 110% of people, it's a scary time to go into the unknown. That if they're oh God, I'm so excited just to be able to use this, to be able to shed some of those fears, right? Which is again a big part of what we do in the hypnobirthing classes.
So let's finish up with that, because I'm seeing the time and I need to jump on my I have a training.
You got to go on your somatic experiencing.
Exactly.
Training.
It's starting in 5 minutes.
So we have our next 5-week group session starting November 4th to December 2nd. It's on Thursday nights, and you get both of us. Yay, 2 for the price of 1. So we alternate classes, and we're hoping that more people join. There's always room because it is online, and the classes, the hypnobirthing childhood education classes we teach it's a series of 5, 3 hours each, and it's for couples. And again, that's also done virtually, and that also works really well virtually. And we have a lot of fun. Hey, it's always. It seems probably on the surface hypnobirthing is like this serious thing, and there are elements of seriousness, but I don't know, Mika and I are pretty cool. We have a good time. Students seem to like the classes, and yeah. So if you do want to ask more questions, you can send us an email. And we haven't done one of these Wombs with a View in a while, just again because life is moving very, very fast. But in theory, we should be back in 2 weeks with a guest.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Keep moving. Have a wonderful class, Mika. It was so nice to see you, and we'll see you hopefully very soon. Well, we'll talk very soon, and hopefully see your face again soon as well.
That would be awesome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Whatever day you're gonna watch us.
Exactly. Take care. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.